You are now watching the Amazin Mets Pregame Show with your hosts, Rob and CP.
Let's go Mets! Let's go Mets! Let's go Mets! Let's go Mets!
What is up, Mets fans? Happy opening day 2024. I am live in the parking lot at Citi Field. Hopefully the Wi-Fi holds up. I got my boy CP here with the first ever the Amazin Mets Pregame Show. Chris, how you doing, buddy?
I'm glad we can make this happen. Obviously, I'm not in my regular setup. You're not in your regular setup, but we do it for the people. The debut of the Amazin Mets Pregame Show. It's so great to be back. Baseball's back, and most importantly, Mets baseball's back. Let's go, baby. I'm hyped.
Absolutely. So I was able to jump on and get the lineup before we just went on. It just popped up like 2 minutes before we came on, and we're going to get right to the lineup because the lineup is probably something that we talked about 2 days ago in regards to Jeff McNeil with the spring training game, and it looks like he's batting cleanup. Let's go through the lineup really quick. So we got Brandon Nimmo leading off. He's playing left field, excuse me. Francisco Lindor, of course, I got to spell stuff wrong. It never goes wrong. I got to spell stuff wrong. I do apologize for that, but I was doing this very remotely, and it's not easy to do. But Francisco Lindor playing shortstop. Pete Alonso batting third, playing first base. Cleaning up, Jeff McNeil batting second. I'm batting cleanup, playing second base. Starling Marte batting fifth, playing right field. DJ Stewart DH and batting sixth. Francisco Alvarez batting seventh, catching. Brett Beatty batting eighth, playing third base. And Harrison Bader playing center field. And that is the Mets lineup for opening day. Chris, what do you think?
So I saw this lineup, and we kind of were speculated, right? We threw out our opening day lineup potential yesterday. And we were just sort of talking about it, or was it 2 days ago? It doesn't really matter. We were sort of speculating whether it's going to be McNeil in the 2-hole like I had, McNeil in the cleanup spot like Anthony DeComo had alluded to back in spring training, right, when they played the Cardinals, and it was like, this is going to be eerily similar to what we see opening day. Well, there you have it. Jeff McNeil is your cleanup hitter. I'm not going to sort of panic right now. Like, it's not like we're waiting for JD Martinez to get to Queens, right? This is game 1 of 162. This is something where this is the opening day lineup, but this lineup is not going to be the lineup that we see maybe a week or 2 weeks from now when we get all the personnel here at strength. I'm not gonna lie to you. Jeff McNeil, Starling Marte, and DJ Stewart back to back there, 4 through 6 is a little bold. I see that Carlos Mendoza, whoever made this lineup, wanted to do a lefty righty, especially with Francisco Alvarez and Brett Beatty there. I like it. Spread out the lefties throughout the lineup. We'll see what happens, man. We were talking about who's gonna be that cleanup hitter behind Pete Alonso or that fifth batter behind Pete Alonso all off season. Obviously, with JD Martinez not being ready for opening day, this throws a little bit of a wrench in things. But this lineup is not going to make me not excited for this game. It's opening day. Lineup is what it is. We got Jose Quintana on the mound, and I'm ready to roll. I really want to see what those 4 through 6 batters do to set Francisco Alvarez up for success. And obviously, the young studs, 7 and 8, Alvarez and Beatty. Like I said, it's going to be treading water with the bottom of this lineup until JD Martinez gets here. What is this bottom of the lineup going to produce for this team? That's what I'm curious to see. But I like it. Nonetheless, it's opening day, Rob. Time to get hype. I know you're in the parking lot for doing this show. It's a special day. It's a special day for baseball, and it's a special day for us Mets fans.
Absolutely. Working on slowly with the IPAs really quick. Yeah, absolutely. And listen, I don't like the lineup, but it's opening day. It is what it is. You know, I guarantee you every day we're going to see different lineups until Martinez comes. I think tomorrow when we got the lefty in Hall, you're going to see a different lineup, right? It was very interesting to see Jeff McNeil in the cleanup spot in spring training a couple of times, and they did it more often than you would think. And you started to assume like, okay, he might get the cleanup spot, which again, it makes no sense because he's a contact hitter. He's not a power guy. But with analytics now, who the hell knows anymore? But I like this lineup, right? 1, 2, 3. I love that Lindor's in the second hole. We talked about this during the season preview. Lindor, once he got put in the second hole last year, he was outstanding. Had his best year as a Met, and why change it? Marte batting fifth scares me a little bit, considering the fact that his spring was very bad. His bat was slow. That worries me. To put Alvarez all the way down in seventh, I understand you talked about it, Chris, putting the pressure on him. But I would have put the pressure on him right away. Put him in the fourth or fifth spot. Let's go. Let's not play games. But I see what they're trying to do. They're putting the kids at the bottom, calming them down a little bit. And you're right about the lefty-righty, right? That seems like a trend in baseball. If you looked at a lot of the lineups yesterday on opening day, there was a lot of that. If you had enough of those guys to roll around. And the Mets have a ton of lefties on their roster. So you might as well use it to your advantage. And when bullpen comes in, you don't have to start mixing and matching, with pinch hitters all over the place to, play that lefty-righty matchup. You kind of have it. So it's going to be harder for the Brewers to match up their bullpen with this lineup, at least for opening day. So I like it. I'm not going to go crazy. I guarantee you when Martinez comes, he's going to be batting fourth, like Mendoza said, and then 5 through 9, we will see. But, Chris, what do you think about the opening day with the Jose Quintana pitching on opening day? I like the veteran. Like this is his second opening day start. His first was, I believe, 5 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. I think 2019. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it was then. But what do you think of this pitching matchup? Freddie Peralta is going to be tough. But what do you expect for Jose Quintana pitch count wise, and how many innings do you think he's going to throw today?
Well, I like Aaron's prediction here in the chat. If we can mimic 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, and 7 strikeouts for Quintana, I'll take that all day long. Listen, this is a Brewers team that really isn't great. I don't have them high on my card for the NL here. And we talked about that a little bit on our stream before. This is a team that the Mets should beat, right? Freddie Peralta is tough, but you look at this team outside of Freddie Peralta, outside of your Adames, outside of your Yelich, like who do they really have? Now, I could just be underestimating them. Maybe that could be the case. But I really do think the Mets should start off hot in this series, and it's about getting to Freddie Peralta early. Get him out of this game and get to that bullpen early. They don't have Devin Williams. That's a huge hit for their bullpen. Get to that Brewers bullpen early and put the pressure on them, like you said. Jose Quintana, I believe in him. I was lobbying for Luis Severino to make this opening day start. I'm happy they made him the second in line so I can see him actually in person tomorrow. But we all know that I was lobbying for Luis Severino. I like the veteran lefty. I think that was a safer bet. Obviously, he struggled a little bit in his last start in spring training, but he has everything. He has the command. He has the location. He doesn't have that fastball that's going to wow you, but he knows how to get hitters out. And that's why I like Aaron's prediction here. I think at minimum, we get 6 innings pitch out of him. But even if we don't, even if he's able to go 5 and 2/3, what have you, we have a competent bullpen, which we talked about in those last 2 bullpen spots to relieve early to get to the big guns in the latter half of this bullpen, and your Adam Ottavinos, your Brooks Raley's, and your Edwin Diaz's. And if it comes down to the 9th inning where Edwin Diaz is coming in for a save opportunity on game 1 of 62, you can bet your bottom dollar. You can put that in as an L for the Milwaukee Brewers because Edwin Diaz is back. He looked electric in spring training, and those trumpets are going to be blaring. It's going to be an electric day. I'm actually so jealous that you get to see game 1 in person, Rob. I wish I was there with you right now. But yeah, I want to see what the pitch count's going to be like. I believe Back It Up Binge podcast here saying in the chat, I want to see what the pitch count's like for Jose Quintana. Obviously, he had the injury to begin last season in 2023. He had a great, I would say, stellar second half of the 2023 season, but with his age and with where the Mets are at in their rotation, not having Senga for maybe the first month of the season, who knows what the official timeline is, how far are they willing to stretch this opening rotation in the first, second go-around versus the bullpen, right? You have the bullpen pieces to mitigate those pitch counts, mitigate those innings. How far are they willing to go with Quintana? Let's say it's the 5th inning. He's got 1 out. He's 5 1/3 way there, right? Or 4 1/3 way there, something like that. There's runners on first and second and 1 out. Are they going to sort of push the envelope with him? Or are they going to make that change early? Because like I said, this guy's 36 years old. We need him for the rest of the season. I want to see how Carlos Mendoza goes about stretching these guys out in terms of the innings pitched here very early on, especially in April. So that's going to be something to watch out for as well. But I'm confident, and I like Jose Quintana today, and I'm very confident in the Mets today if I was a betting man. But that's all I gotta say.
I tend to agree with that. I think his last start in spring, he had 74 pitches, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm assuming around 74 to 80 pitches. I think he'll go there. Again, I don't go crazy about innings because I think it's more about pitch count than anything else. If he gets through 6 innings and 80 pitches, great. I mean, we'll take that every day of the week. But like I believe Aaron said, I'll take a 5 inning, maybe around a 6 inning, 5 or 6 innings. I think that would be fine. He said 6 innings, 4 hits, 7 strikeouts. I think that's a pretty damn good performance on opening day. And again, we were so used to, star aces as opening day starters, DeGrom, Scherzers over the years, for many, many years. We go back to Matt Harvey, Syndergaard, now we got Jose Quintana. And, I know it's like everybody's like, oh, Jose Quintana. But he's a rough and tough veteran. He knows how to pitch. I think the best, I was talking about Luis Severino being the opening day starter, but I understood why they didn't do it. I think it's perfect to pitch him in game 2. It's a lot less crazy, unless the Mets lose today, and then Luis Severino got all the pressure in the world, and fans are going to be, a little bit hesitant of cheering as much as they are going today. And I think Jose Quintana is going to be fine today. Again, the Brewers are an injury-plagued team right now. You saw what Corbin Burns did for the Orioles yesterday, just dominated. It's not there. Freddie Peralta is really good, but the lineup, it's solid. But I think the Brewers are going to have a lot of issues this year, and the Mets need to win this series. Like, I want to get greedy, sweep them. That would be nice going into the Detroit series at home. But take 2 out of 3. Start off a series well. The Mets are the best team in baseball on opening day. They win opening day games. Continue that streak. The fan base is more excited over the last about week and a half. Ever since they got Martinez, Met fans have been seen to be more excited. Like, I'm in the parking lot right now. Let me see if I can guide you over. We got the flags up. I don't know if you guys can see it right over there. People got the flags and all that stuff. So. Yeah, everybody's pumped. Everybody's barbecuing right now as I'm gonna head over to the 7-line tailgate, which is about 5 steps from me right now. So a lot of people are excited. I'm sorry, my camera's a little crazy. Everybody's excited right now, and I think it's not just because of the Martinez signing. I think a lot of people are underestimating this entire roster. Not saying they're gonna win 95 games, but we've seen crazier things. And when Mets teams don't have a lot of expectations, i.e. 2015, they surprise a lot of people. And we talked about this on Mets Hot Stove during the offseason. 2015 was similar to the 2024 Mets in the offseason. What was the talk? 2026, 2025 is the year. 2016 is the year. That's what they were talking about. And then the Mets stuck around, stood around the division with Washington by the deadline, got Cespedes, got a couple of other pieces, and they went off and running. There's no reason why the New York Mets can do that along with the extra wildcard teams. There's no reason why this team can't do it. So with Jose Quintana, I love that he's the opening day starter. Give it to the veteran. But Freddie Peralta is going to be tough today. But like you said, Chris, you got to get him out of the game early. The Mets lineup success is make the starter throw a lot of pitches early. Let them get into that bullpen early, because a lot of the times you're going to get into the bullpen where you're not going to use the best pitchers, and then it's going to just help you along the rest of the series. So, Chris, I'm happy right now. I'm excited. Little tipsy. Had a couple of IPAs already for the stream.
I love it.
So, yes, there is typos, even though when I'm sober, there's typos. But I try to put the lineup as quickly as possible since it came up a minute ago. So, Chris, you're going to be coming up New York for the game tomorrow. When was the last time you went to a game last year?
No, I didn't go to. I haven't been to Citi Field in so long, so this is going to be such a great experience for me. It's been almost like a decade since I've gone, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's going to be a unique experience. Obviously, Matt, Sunny Days in Flushing, yourself's going to be there. We're going to have a great time.
Awesome.
Hopefully meet some people along the way here, especially in the chat. And it's going to be a great time. And like I said, just doing this stream right now in the parking lot, it's a good sign to come. And I'm very excited about this. Like I wish I was there right now, grilling, just seeing the excitement of Mets fans, because like I said, I think the mood did change. It's not just because of JD Martinez that Mets fans are back excited now. I think this excitement would have been the case all along, but
yeah.
I really do think that that signing put extra life into this fan base. Like, okay, we have a fighting chance to be a playoff team this year. And let's not forget, as it pertains to March 29th today, Freddie Peralta is a great pitcher. I've been on record for saying Freddie Peralta is a great pitcher, but he's not an ace, man. Like on any rotation, a playoff rotation, he's going to be a 2 or a 3. He's not an actual ace. And I think a lot of people still forget that. That's not taking anything away from Freddie Peralta. I've been on record saying I want Freddie Peralta in a Mets uniform next year if he's available via trade. But this is not a small task by any means, but I do think this lineup needs to come out swinging, man. I really do, and I think they will, and I'm expecting big things. Listen, I want to win I want to put up like 7 runs, man, 7, 8 runs. I want to see offense early, and I know that's ambitious, but you look at like what the Orioles did yesterday against the Angels. Like it's something where we just need to see offense early and often, man, especially from those top 4 guys. And then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, we'll see what we get. But I'm actually very curious. I think my X factor here is not X factor, but just like who I'm really watching out for, minus Starling Marte, is going to be Harrison Bader. Obviously, first official game as a New York Met. That 9 hole is very important in terms of flipping the lineup over. How does he do in that sort of situation? This is a $10 million man for 1 year that we're talking about. So how does Harrison Bader do? But yes, Rob, overall, I'm so excited heading up to New York today. It's going to be a blast. I can't wait.
Yeah, you're right about Harrison Bader. If he's healthy, I think he's going to be a solid player. Like, I'm not worried about his defense. He's a clutch performer offensively when he's healthy. You know, when he was in the playoffs with the Yankees a few years back, he was the best player on the team. And I think him being healthy is key for this team, because you don't want to start using your bench already with injury. And Tyrone Taylor is a good replacement, but now that hurts your bench, because who are you going to bring up? What are you going to put Vientos in that spot as a bench piece, which is fine. But, you know, maybe they'll bring up, you know, one of the journeyman outfielders as well, just to have an extra outfielder on the bench. A lot to look at, because Bader is important because of the question mark Starling Marte is. I think that's the issue that I'm falling to. Like, I wouldn't be concerned about Bader if I knew my center fielder and left fielder my right fielder and left fielder are perfectly fine and are most likely healthy. So because Marte is a question mark, I worry about Bader a lot, and that's what I worry about when it comes to this lineup in just overall health. But I do, again, with Marte and when it comes to Bader, you know, there's question marks there. And, you know, Bader got $10 million. So the Mets are trusting him a lot to stay healthy and perform. Not just stay healthy, but perform. Like, he can't just be healthy and be a disaster, because that's not going to help this team, especially if Marte is not close to what he was in 2022, because now you got 2 holes in the outfield, and that hurts the lineup a lot until Martinez comes. So I think you're 100% right. The $10 million man in Harrison Bader is probably an X factor here, at least today in today's game and going forward. And I think it's also because of the Marte situation, buddy.
Hey, yeah, absolutely. I was refreshing the Brewers Twitter account just to see what their lineup is going to be. They actually just released it. So I will read it off. Obviously, we know what the Mets lineup is. We want to see how it stacks up against the Brewers lineup. So I guess Churio playing right field for them. I believe he just got extended. I believe that he's a rookie, and he got a fat extension before he even played in a major league game. So he's going to be leading off for them. They got William Contreras, Christian Yelich, Rhys Hoskins, and Willy Adames as their top 5. And then outside of their top 5, they have Perkins, Ortiz, Sanchez, Monasterio, and then obviously their pitchers Peralta. So the top 5 for the Brewers lineup is something to watch out for. I'm curious to see what this kid does here at the top of the lineup playing right field for the Milwaukee Brewers. Obviously, that was their top prospect, I believe, and if I'm getting it correct. But obviously, we know William Contreras. We've seen him before in a Braves uniform. Obviously, brother of Wilson Contreras. Christian Yelich has been a staple there in Milwaukee for the last couple of years. Newly acquired Rhys Hoskins didn't play at all last year in 2023. Got that 2-year deal with Milwaukee, playing first base for them. And then Willy Adames, who's not going to be a Brewer for long. If I had to guess, maybe at the trade deadline, they're going to let him go because he's a free agent. They're going to send him off, especially if they're not performing well as a team, batting 5th or they're playing shortstop. But this is not a great Brewers lineup. Like, it's a serviceable lineup, and maybe I'm underestimating them a little bit, but this is something that Jose Quintana, I feel like as a veteran, should definitely handle well. And I feel like he should put the Mets in a great position to be right there in the thick of things in terms of getting him a lead and keeping that lead for the majority of the game. So that's how your Brewers lineup shakes out. Like I said, this pregame show, I'm not high on the Brewers. Maybe I'm just not giving them enough credit. I don't know. Maybe I look back on this pregame show and I should just keep my mouth shut for the second pregame show that we do. But I'm very confident in this Mets team on opening day right now. And I think everybody in the chat is excited. And I think we should all be confident because I truly like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on over there in Milwaukee. We did our predictions. We did our projections. We both think the Cubs and the Reds are going to be at the top of the NL Central. The Milwaukee Brewers, who've been dominating that division for the last couple of years, really are on their decline. When you look at the injuries, when you look at the free agents and the trades walking away, I'm excited, man. This is just a great time to be a baseball fan. But yeah, that's how the Brewers lineup stacks out. And I know a lot of people here are talking about the Mets lineup. I threw a tweet out there earlier today talking about that 4 through 6 being a little bit bold, especially for opening day. Would have definitely reordered this lineup if it were up to me. But nonetheless, I'm not going to be nitpicky here about the lineup on opening day. Let's see what these guys got. And at the end of the day, honestly, DJ Stewart, we'll see what his role is on this team moving forward. Because you talk about a guy like DJ Stewart, we weren't even confident that he would make the opening day roster with that option. He did. He didn't have a great spring training by any stretch of the imagination, but I think that this is going to be his time between now and when JD Martinez comes up to really prove that he can be something for this roster over the course of 162 and to remain on this roster when JD Martinez comes up. So we'll see. We'll see about the revolving door of DJ Stewart and Zach Short being on this team when JD Martinez comes up, because they're going to need to send someone down when he comes up. So who's it going to be? And I think that's what a lot of fans are waiting to see about these performances.
Yeah, and you just talked about the Brewers lineup. You know what it sounds like? The Mets lineup, top heavy, right? That's basically what it is. Like, if you look at the lineup, they're very similar. They're very top heavy and a lot of question marks after like the 6th spot. And that's where the Mets are right now. Until Martinez comes, it's going to be a top heavy lineup, and that's where we are right now. But I think the Mets are better than the Brewers, right? We can talk about the young outfielder that is playing today. Hopefully he strikes out 4 times, because if he does well, that's dangerous for the Mets. But yeah, I agree with you. DJ Stewart is, he made the opening day roster, or the 26-man roster. But how long is he going to be there, right? Is, like you said, Zach Short, who performed great during spring, he's going to get an opportunity if DJ Stewart doesn't perform here. So we got a couple more minutes here. We're only going to do about a half-hour show. Chris has got to get going to head up to New York, and I got to get drunk and eat some food at a tailgate.
You got some beers to drink. That's right.
Yeah, you're doing good, man. It's getting busy around here. So, all right, guys. So, I want to know everybody's prediction, right? I had 87 wins. Chris had 85 wins yesterday on our season preview. If you could say it in the chat quickly, or type it in the chat quickly, how many wins for our New York Mets in 2024? And also are they a playoff team? Because me and Chris think they're a playoff team. I think they're a second wild card. Chris thinks they're a third wild card. Joe has 84, 87 for Aaron. Keep it on coming, guys. 90 for RIP Rod. Let's go.
90.
And RIP Rod. Listen, he killed the Mets last year. So that's interesting. 86. You see? So we're in line. We're in like mid-80s. Somebody's a little bit more, excited. 90 wins. I'll take it. Listen.
No ambition there with 90, but okay.
Chris, just like about a month ago, we were having Mets hot stoves, and people in chats, this team is not a 75-win team, or barely a 75-win team. That's how much it changed in a month. And that just shows you, when you see players in spring, you get excited about guys in spring, and then you add JD Martinez, it gets the fan base excited, and it changes a 75-win team that a lot of people thought to a mid-80s team or low 80s team, around that. And that's the difference, Chris. That's why I wanted to do that. They're playing music right now. I do have my noise canceling Bluetooth going on, but if you hear it, I do apologize.
We hear you loud and clear.
You see the difference of expectations, because now there's a little bit more expectations, at least for the fan base. I don't know about nationally, but who cares about nationally? We care about locally here in New York. The fan base seems a lot more excited than a month ago. Like you said, I don't think it's JD Martinez. I think it's the fact that the performances by players we were looking to perform are showing some things, right? Alvarez had a really good spring. Brett Beatty came on strong late, right? Harrison Bader, Severino, all these guys remained healthy through spring, and we're getting to opening day because around this time last year, Justin Verlander was put on the shelf the day of opening day in Miami. So I think it's going into opening day for the most part, the majority of this roster healthy, which is rare for this New York Mets organization. Every year going into opening day, DeGrom's hurt, or this guy's hurt, that guy's hurt, Scherzer's not ready, Verlander's not ready. We're predominantly healthy going into opening day, and that's a rare one, Chris. So you think that's the case, or do you think it's just the excitement of opening day that are getting people just going crazy for this Mets team?
I think it's a combination of both, man. I really do. I think last year was definitely a downer, but I think everyone's excited for opening day. I think it's really about how the Mets respond in the first opening couple of series, right? Like the Brewers series and the Tigers series really is going to dictate everyone's excitement. Like we'll see. Everyone's excited in this chat right now. We'll see if people maintain that excitement after the first two series. Now, I'm not saying that the Tigers are a small task either, but all I'm saying is that these first two series are really going to determine how this team and how these fans react. Obviously, it's a long season. I'm not saying if the Mets go 2-4 in the first 6 games, everyone's going to jump off the wagon. That would be dumb, right? But I'm just saying, like, after the type of season that you have in 2023, especially underachieving expectations, you got to start off on the right foot in the first like 6 to 7 games. We've stressed that so much already, so much. And I think what Joel said in the chat here, shout out to Joel, always supporting. I appreciate it. If the Mets have a different June this season, if they have a different month and a half stretch in that middle part of the season where they faltered last year, this team is going to hit everyone's expectations that we've just put out in this chat. We're going to hit 85, 86, 87 wins, maybe even 88 wins, because that's where the Mets season really got derailed. That June swoon was really coming into effect last year. If that changes and that doesn't happen this year, and we say this every single year, and it's easier said than done, but what did I say a couple streams ago? If the Mets, slumps are inevitable, right? Slumps are inevitable individually. But how does the rest of the roster respond during those slumps? Let's say Pete Alonso goes into a slump, right? And he goes for 0 for 20 stretch. How do the guys around him maintain afloat while he's in that slump? And then let's say Jeff McNeil goes into a slump and Pete Alonso needs to come out of that slump as Jeff McNeil's going into it. We can't have 5 guys in the lineup slumping at the same time because that's what it felt like happened last season, if that makes sense. I know that's a sort of roundabout sort of explanation, but it really is about finding the right timing of these slumps and trying to navigate it around it and maintain as a team afloat while that's happening. So I think that that's definitely something that I'm looking forward to as well. How this team, just like the mental toughness and just sort of the perseverance of when things do get tough inevitably. This is a long season, right? Everyone gets tired. Everyone goes into slumps. How do they persevere as a team? Because last year, we could definitely tell, and we called this team out multiple times saying, we don't think that you guys are mentally tough. Does that aspect change with this team? New regime, new guy leading this ball club in Carlos Mendoza. How does that turn around from 2023? All of these factors that a lot of people like, everyone can gloss over the fact that this team wasn't mentally tough and like, okay, so what, etc. That's a very important piece when you're talking about a 162 game season. It's not. It goes a long way, guys. It really does. So that's what I'm watching out for. But I agree with you. And everyone in the chat, I like those predictions, man. I saw 100 in there from Dana. I saw 90. I like the optimism, guys. And make sure you guys hit in those thumbs up. Obviously, we are getting this stream out to you all. Opening day, Rob's in the parking lot. We try to do our best with the streams, and we'll be doing this consistently over the course of the season. So make sure you're hitting that thumbs up on both streams. I definitely appreciate the support.
Absolutely. And, you talked about the June swoon. The Mets were what, 7-19 in June last year? If they were 500 in June, they would have had, just add what, 3 or 4 more wins. They're in the 80 win total just by going 500. If they were a little bit better, they're right in the mix for the third wild card spot. And that's what's so frustrating. They can't have 8, 9, 10 games under 500 month because that kills you. if you hang around the 500 mark in most of the months heading up to the trade deadline, you're going to be in it. Like, it's just that's why I'm saying you have to have one good month. If the Mets have a good April, a good May, and it's like 2 or 3 or 4 games over 500 for those 2 months, you have a 500 June, you're right where you are, where you need to be in a wild card spot. Because I don't think any of the middle of the pack teams are much better than anybody else, right? I think the AL West and the NL West is going to kill each other, right? I think you're going to beat up on each other a lot. And the NL Central, I don't think anybody's really that good. Somebody's got to win that division. I think they're going to be the odd man out when it comes to a wild card team. So it's going to be between the Phillies, Mets, Padres, Giants, Diamondbacks. So 5 teams for 2 spots. Or 3 spots, excuse me. So that's where we are right now. So I think the Mets are going to be fine. And that mentally tough aspect, we killed them time and time again. We killed them at the end of 2022. You had your core minus Marte in 2022. They couldn't pick up the slack. Last year, when things went wrong, nobody picked up the slack. You're going to start to hear questions if it happens again this year about the mental toughness of this team. We'll see. We will really see. There's a lot of good vibes going around in spring training. It seems like there's like pressure off their shoulders. But you know what? There's going to be a lot of pressure when they go to Atlanta in the middle of April. And we're going to really see how it's going to be, right? Don't open your mouth. Don't say, throw that again. Just be a professional, play your game, and good things will come if you play your game. They try to jump out of their shoes and just like try to show off for no reason last year against the Braves when on the field performance matters. The scoreboard at the end of the game matters. This team needs to just figure it out because you can't re-sign Pete Alonso and now you have the core that you signed everybody saying this is the core I'm going to go with for the next 5 to 6 years with some young talent and be confident in their lack of success because you can't be. This is the moment for Pete Alonso. This is the moment for Lindor, Nimmo, McNeil, all these guys. This is the moment now to show that you're mentally tough. When things get rough and everybody's going to go through a rough patch, it's how fast you pick yourself back up. Because when things went bad early June, they never picked themselves back up. Now, you can talk about injuries all you want. We're not the only team with injuries that actually made it to a playoffs or at least went for a run late in the year. The fact of the matter is the mental toughness is key to this team. The talent's there. It's the mental toughness that I want to see along with that talent, Chris. So, Chris, if you want to just say something before, go ahead, buddy.
2 points. I just saw someone added me on Twitter saying we're going to be lucky to get 30 combined home runs from McNeil, Marte, and Stewart in the middle of this lineup. And I haven't responded yet, but I'm going to respond by saying this middle of the lineup that you see right now is not going to be the same middle of the lineup that you see 2 weeks from now. I can promise you. That's point number 1. Number 2, a lot of people forget the Mets are set up for success here, not only with this opening day roster, but with the depth that they have on both the offensive and pitching side of the ball in the minor leagues. You talk about a Jose Butto, who really should have made this opening day roster, but they want to preserve him for when they go 6-man when Kodai Senga's back. You still got Joey Lucchesi. I understand that he had a rough spring training. He looked good last year, albeit after coming back from, I believe it was Tommy John surgery. You still got him stashed. You got the pitching prospects and Mike Vasil and Christian Scott stashed and ready to come up and make big impacts. On the offensive side of the ball, you got a lot of guys, too, that can help you out. Mark Vientos will be waiting in the wings. If you need home run pop off the bench, he'll be there. You got G-Man Choi. If DJ Stewart falters and you need another DH, you got G-Man Choi there for the bench. There's the Jose Iglesias to replace a Zach Short if Zach Short somehow doesn't figure it out. And you got the veteran Jose Iglesias, who's been doing this year after year after year. Like, this team on opening day, it's great. We see the lineup in front of us. Awesome. If any one of these guys falters, if an injury happens, like you said, not make the excuse of injuries, because That's something where I think the Mets didn't excel in the past, is having that depth to come up and replace the starters over the course of 162. That is not the case this year. And that's a credit to what David Stearns did this offseason, whether you want to give him credit or not, or maybe you're playing the wait and see game. There is depth in this system, not only young guys, but also veterans that are in this system to replace the guys that have made the opening day roster, whether it's a lack of performance or injury. So that's something that I urge everyone in this chat to understand that as well. The Mets are in good shape, whether we see these guys over the course of 162. And obviously, I'm talking about the guys here at the bottom, minus Francisco Alvarez. I'm talking about those guys, not so much your Nimmo, Lindor, Alonso, McNeil, because we know we're going to be seeing those guys over the longevity of the season. And we don't want them to get injured, or we don't want them to, like, obviously fall off the cliff in terms of the performance. But you know what I'm talking about. Like your Harrison Bader, if he goes down, we have competent guys that can come up and replace them, right? Tyrone Taylor's still there on the bench. If a DJ Stewart doesn't perform, I can go on and on and on, but this team is just deep. Like, it's a deep team. It's a deep organization, and I like that.
Agree, and that's the thing. Like, there's players to replace if somebody doesn't perform, and McNeil, Marte, Stewart. That's why I'm not worried as much as I was last year, because even last year, with the expectations, the roster looked good. But if you looked at the depth, it was not there. You could not afford an injury or bad performances because you were going with guys that didn't deserve the quadruple A players, guys that didn't deserve to be in the majors. Now, if Marte doesn't perform well, you got Tyrone Taylor. If DJ Stewart doesn't perform well, you got Short. You got other guys in the minors, G-Man Choi, those type of guys, right? If McNeil doesn't perform, maybe Acuna is a guy that they bring up and give him a chance, right? There's a lot of opportunities to do that. As Film said, Acuna might get a shot early. If McNeil looks bad and doesn't perform well, they're not going. There's not long leashes here. There is no, I would say, let me put it this way with David Stearns. There's no loyalty here with David Stearns, right? He's evaluating not just the young kids. He's evaluating this entire roster. You don't perform, he'll find somebody else to replace you. Because if you remember, go back to all the years he was GM of the Brewers. He did not waste time. You didn't perform, your ass was either going to be on the bench or you were going to get sent down to the minors. Somebody else was going to replace you because somebody is going to win that job. Nobody is a guarantee here. If you're not performing well, you're going to get days off. You're going to get replaced. And I think when you talk about McNeil, Marte, Stewart, home run wise, that's fine. A lot of these guys aren't home run hitters, right? You know, Marte's probably a 15, 16 home run guy. Stewart, I think, can be like a 16, 17, 18 home run guy. McNeil, I don't want him to hit home runs. I need him to get on base. Now, it looks bad that he's batting fourth, and he probably has to drive in some runs in this lineup because, well, he's going to be cleaning up. But in aspects where he's going to be batting seventh or eighth or second, I need him to hit for average, not power. So I'm not worried about that. If Nimmo, Lindor, Alonso, and Alvarez provide the power, I'm okay with this lineup and not worried about those other guys providing power. Those guys need to get on base. That's how they produce for this lineup, Chris. So, Chris, final thoughts. Opening day, our first the Amazin Mets pregame show on opening day. I'm in the parking lot. You're in D.C., ready to come up north. Give us your final words, final score today on opening day, and do the Mets win?
Yes, I think they do. I mentioned earlier I want to see the offense early and often. I'm aiming for like 7 runs would be great. I don't think they quite get there, so I'm going to say it's going to be a 6-3 win for the New York Mets on opening day. They are victorious. They do continue their streak as an organization of being one of the best opening day teams in baseball. Obviously, the end result of this game is not going to be indicative of whether the Mets have success or a lack thereof this season, but it's nice to get off on the right foot. It's nice to get the fans behind you and excited and continue that excitement that you see in that very parking lot that you're in right now, continue over the course of 162. Listen, this is a New York fan base. If you falter, they're going to get on you. We had the whole issues of booing, whatever your stance is on that sort of resets. And this is the time to reset because people are going to be cheering today and they're going to get behind this team. So 6-3 win for the New York Mets. Thank you for setting this up. I know that You are in the parking lot. It's very tough. You got the mic there. You got the computer set up. I love it. The first debut show of the Amazin Mets pregame show. We make it happen, even though we're sort of on the move a lot. We make it happen for you all. Hit that thumbs up on both streams. We are streaming both to Rob's YouTube account and my YouTube channel as well. So hit the thumbs up and subscribe to both channels if you haven't done so already. And like I said, it's an amazing and exciting time to be a Mets fan. We'll be both at the game tomorrow. And I can't wait, man. It's awesome. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. So 6-3 for Chris. So you're gonna follow him on X and at CP New York Sports. You're gonna follow me at TMWRNYM on X as well. Again, subscribe, hit that like button, guys. My score today, 7-2 Mets. I think the Mets are going to show up today. I think they're going to score early and then not score much late in the game, but they're going to pitch well. I think Quintana is going to go 5 innings, give up a couple of runs. I think the bullpen is going to be a shutdown bullpen today. So 7-2 Mets, but the Mets are going to get the win and be still the best opening team in baseball when it comes to winning on opening day. So, with that said, happy opening day, guys. Enjoy the baseball game. Enjoy the Mets game today, guys. And Met fans, if you're going to the game, Pete Alonso's first opening day at home. First game of the season, opening day. Never had a home opener as the first game of the year. Big ovation for Pete Alonso. I know I've killed Pete Alonso on the stream a lot, on the channel a lot, but he is our homegrown guy. He deserves to get cheered. Big ovation for Pete Alonso. Longest ovation, loudest ovation of the pregame ritual and all that before the game process. So with that said, guys, let's go Mets. Thank you for tuning into the Mets Amazing Pregame Show. Chris, I'll see you tomorrow, buddy. Let's go Mets. Happy opening day, guys. Great job in the chat. See you next time, guys. Have a great day.
Let's go Mets.